how did you learn about Bioxcellerator?
So I've had 11 stem cell procedures in the United States with Dr. Baumgartel with a Nevada spine clinic. I left WWE, I walked out, was really injured, and I was told I needed a 5-disc fusion and a shoulder replacement. So at 34 years old, that wasn't an option for me. So luckily, my chiropractor recommended a stem cell doctor in the United States, which at the time was my only hope with all of this. I wasn't as educated on this. I thought I was getting the same treatment in the United States that I'd heard about, like on the Joe Rogan podcast, about people going to Panama. Mel Gibson's been on there, Dan Bilzerian, talking about these powerful stem cells and their amazing capabilities. Well, I've had 11 procedures over 2 years, and I'm considerably better than I was, but it's been 11 like surgical type procedures getting put under, paying a lot of money going through insurance and whatnot. And then a guy named David Truitt contacted me through Bioxcellerator as he listens to my conversation with the Big Guy Ryback podcast and informed me that he would be willing to help out to try to get me back to be able to return back to wrestling. I've been out for over a year. I had to take time off to let the stem cells, because I was still wrestling with them. So David was the one who actually educated me and made me even more aware that what I was getting in the States were not what I could get here. And for example, every treatment there was with my bone marrow stem cells. I was getting 3,000 to 8,000 stem cells per treatment, whereas over here I got 175 million stem cells total between my back, shoulder, and leg. So quite, I believe, over 20,000 times more powerful, if my math is not mistaken. So yes. So initially, again, in the United States, I think I was a little bit uneasy because you hear, I think America, sometimes you have, you hear things and the media puts out a certain thing sometimes, and you hear sometimes horror stories of people going to other countries like Mexico, typically, and getting like infections and whatnot. So, and for me, in like Medellin, in everything with Pablo Escobar and how Netflix and that whole thing, it was that big. So I think you kind of at first, like my mom was very uneasy. She said, I don't want you going there. And when I said, and then I looked into it, and you look at it, actually realized everything was actually really good. And my experience of being it's absolutely beautiful. And I could not have been any more, can't be any more peaceful. Everything from the facility that we're at, the mall, the hotel, everything I told them is completely professional and top notch. And that if anybody has any concerns, that you talk to the people that have come here, and it'll put you at ease really quickly. This whole thing has happened really quickly. Like Dave, from the first time that I first spoke to David, we had a few phone calls, and I think David did a really good job of actually talking to the people. Like I've had several long conversations with David, and he's gone over the process, and everything that he told me then when I got here, it was all matched up, and everything. Like I said, the staff and everybody has been great. And sometimes I think coming to another country, and speaking English and understanding un poquito, I think a very small amount of Spanish, and having people on the staff that speak English very well, and they're at the actual procedure, like Alexa and Sarah, the doctors and the nurse, really helps to put you at ease. And that, as you were just talking to you, having medical procedures can be nerve-wracking for you to begin with, and then on top of that in another country. But having 11 in the United States, everything here is exactly the equivalent as far as technology and the staff, top notch. I think it was just from the moment David contacted me, my goal has been to go back to wrestling. Once I was informed on the difference between the umbilical cord stem cells and just how much more powerful, how many more that I was actually getting, and my back is significantly better than it was. They've regrown my 5-disc, and where I don't have any pain anymore. There was still a small amount though, and it's been 2 years of constant work. That once I understood how powerful these stem cells were, and that like my shoulder cartilage, they have not been able to regrow my shoulder cartilage. I had none left from all the cortisone eating away my cartilage. So the stem cells in the States, as great as they were for my back, I wasn't having success with them in my shoulder. And I've had 7 procedures done on my shoulder with fat cells and bone marrow. So being educated on the matter and realizing and talking to David and him explaining exactly what was going to be going on, and him essentially giving me hope for the first time that my shoulder is going to be able to make pretty much a full recovery, probably, that even my doctor in the States and the staff here I was made aware that even though I had no cartilage left in my shoulder, I still have cells that with these powerful umbilical cord stem cells will regrow the cartilage, and it may not regrow it to 100% right away, but if it gets it to 30 or 40%, and then when I get the next treatment, there's a good chance, whereas before in the States, it wasn't growing it at all. So I was kind of stuck. This has been kind of an issue for me. I'm trying to, so as soon as I understood that this was just extremely more powerful and just so much more advanced than anything in the States, and it's the same things I'm getting, essentially, and it's not as invasive either as far as, because they have to extract my bone marrow from my hip with that, so I'm not even having to do that here and whatnot, but that it's the same process, and that I'm gonna probably have a much better chance of recovery. So yeah, it was an easy choice. Like I said, it was just, I think we just have misconceptions in America sometimes, and especially with the American media and the news, and they put out certain things, and there's always different objectives and whatnot, that I didn't know. Coming to Colombia, I honestly didn't know what to expect, but from the moment I got picked up with Danielle, I'm sorry, and her explaining to me that, you know, in Colombia, the amount of deaths used to be 500 a month, and it's 27 a month now. That's less than Chicago. Like, because I was asking questions when I got here, but when you see, the place is absolutely breathtaking when you come here. But just hearing that and knowing that, I think that's just good information for people to understand before they even come here, that helping educate people on the culture of Colombia and how much better things are now compared to 30 or 40 years ago. Because I think that sometimes with Netflix and the Pablo Escobar stuff, that sometimes people have a different idea about something, and it's not that at all. Dr. Sarah, when I was talking to her, my vision was always 20/20, and it's the last few years, even longer than that, even towards WWE, I noticed at a distance, my vision was getting worse, even though I don't need contacts or reading glasses yet. But I was sitting in the office, she was going over the final consultation today, and I look and there was a clock far away, and I could see the time clear as day, where normally that would be blurry, or I'd have to really like focus. And I said to her, I just stopped her, I go, do these stem cells help with vision too? And she goes, yeah, the IV one. She goes, I had a woman that was in glasses, and like 3 months or 2 months after her treatment called me and said she doesn't need her glasses anymore. Thank you to Bioxcellerator and David Truitt for reaching out. And again, I think for me, it's having the goal of returning back to professional wrestling. This is such a cool story, because I've never wanted to be negative or believe I wasn't going to be able to come back, but there were definitely, it's been very discouraging not having, it's been 3 years of, it's almost been like a nightmare of like days of waking up, not being able to sit up out of bed and having to roll out of bed. And when I left WWE, feeling unstoppable and like a machine, to turning into like a 95-year-old man at 34 years old at the time, was it gave me, I'm very grateful it all happened, because it's made me more empathetic and understanding to pain and people, what they go through. And it's also helped me, I've always been very health focused, but understanding I got it, taking care of myself and having this stuff available, how important it is, so that I am not at old age. I don't want to be unable to have a good quality of life. So I just thank you to everybody involved with Bioxcellerator for hopefully getting the big guy Ryback back in the ring, being healthy for me and my fans, but quality of life, not just even wrestling, if that's not, but just quality of life. So I think this is, I'm not going to get treatment in the States anymore, knowing what I know now, because it's not worth, I would rather come and get the best than anything subpar. And treatments are great there, but they're not nowhere near the equivalent of this. So that for me is just thank you to everyone involved with Bioxcellerator. Hey guys, it's the big guy Ryback, and I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Go ahead and punch that like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my all-natural supplement line. Supplement. Stupid! My all-natural supplement line, Feed Me More Nutrition, available on Amazon and feedmemore.com. And as always, Conversation with the Big Guy Ryback, available on all podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and wherever podcasts are available.
never forget, feed me more.
Watch full episodes here on YouTube. Subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button if you had a great time watching. And for all supplements, check out feedmemore.com.